fruit. Hot dogs, yes, very important. Yeah. What else? Ah, hello there. I'm making my grocery list, which I must say is rather frustrating because I'm just sat here in my room and I really don't know what's at the grocery store. This makes it very hard for me to know all the options that I have when it comes to making my list. And now that I think about it, I have the same problem when I write music. You see, oftentimes I'll sit down at the computer right there and I'll open up Dorico 6 and I'll have to think about what instruments I want to put in, whether I want 2 trumpets or 3 trumpets, if I want horns at all, or maybe trombones. Do I want the bass drum or do I just need timpani? And well, sometimes I get lost in all the decisions that I lose the idea I had. Sometimes I want 30 lines and I might not use all of them all the time, but they're there. And some other pieces might only require, say, 20 lines. And it's just so much to consider. Me personally, I like having all my options at my fingertips. So in today's video, I'm going to be making an orchestral template in Dorico. This template is going to be for a very large orchestra, and essentially what it's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to just create a new project. I have all the instruments that I might typically use, and I can just go through and write music where I need it. There will be no more stopping midway through a project to add an instrument or realizing that I put too many instruments in the first place. The template will have everything I need, and I'm super excited. So let's hop over there and get into Dorico. Alright, so here we are in Dorico 6. This is the setup page where I'm able to add all the instruments and players to my ensemble. Typically, I would go for a single player, but I would like to make this a more streamlined process, so I'm going to add an ensemble. Essentially, I'm going to make a very large orchestral template here, so I have all the options when I'm composing music. As per score order, I'm going to start out with the woodwind, so I'm going to find triple woodwinds here. So we have triple woodwind, perfect. And this needs a little bit of tweaking for me, but we will go ahead and start with that. Now, essentially, as you can see, we have piccolo, flute 1, flute 2, oboe 1, oboe 2, English horn, clarinet 1 and 2 in B flat, then bass clarinet, bassoon 1, 2, and contra bassoon. What I'm going to do is all of these auxiliary instruments, the piccolo, the English horn, bass clarinet, and contrabassoon, I'm going to make each of these an additional player. So we'll have flute 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll have a piccolo on the flute 3 player. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to come over to flute 2, and I'm going to duplicate the player. So now we have piccolo, flute 1, flute 2, and flute 3. I'm going to go ahead and open up these players here, and I'm just going to drag the piccolo into flute 3, and that got rid of our piccolo staff on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this player. I'm going to go ahead and do this for all of the other players. So we'll have 3 bassoons, 3 clarinets, and 3 oboes, and the third player for each of these will have the auxiliary instrument. And here we are. We now have the auxiliary instruments on player number 3 for each of these instrument groups. And what I would like to do is I'd like to go ahead and add an E-flat clarinet to clarinet number 2. And I would like to change this cor anglais to, say, English horn instead. It's the same instrument, I just personally prefer seeing English horn in my scores. And there we are. We now have English horn in oboe 3, and we now have E-flat clarinet in clarinet number 2. There was probably a much faster way to go about doing all this, but I kind of enjoy my little process. So now we're going to move from our woodwinds to our brass. I'm going to start out with 6 French horns, which is a lot, but I don't need to use all of them. I went ahead and searched brass in the add ensemble button, and I found this one, which is brass 6341. I'm going to add that and then make some tweaks to it. So, as you can see, starting here, we have 6 French horns, which is exactly what I wanted. We have 3 trumpets, which is also exactly what I wanted. 4 trombones. I don't entirely have a reason for this. Personally, the tuba will do just fine, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our trombone number 4. And also, I'm just going to go ahead and make trombone number 3 a bass trombone, as that is a standard. Alright, we have our 6 French horns. Those are our horns in F. We have 3 trumpets in C. I prefer the C trumpet as it is the modern standard for orchestral writing. I have 2 trombones. Those are essentially our tenor trombones, 1 bass trombone, and 1 tuba. So the next thing in score order would be percussion, but I would like to add the strings in. So I'm just going to have a string section here from our ensemble add button, which is violin 1, violin 2, viola, cello, and contrabass. I probably will try and change that name to contrabass. So what I would like to add now is a piano, as I do enjoy having piano in orchestra, followed by harp and the celeste. And here we are. Now, according to this, we have a score order of celeste, piano, and harp. For percussion, things can get a little interesting, as my percussion setup is never really that elaborate. What I do want is I want a timpani for sure. From there, I also like to have suspended cymbal. Clash cymbals are also something I would like. Bass drum. I will also go ahead and add the glockenspiel in, and the tubular bells. And just like that, I believe we have all the basic instruments I'd like in this score. So for the sake of this template, I'm going to go ahead and come into the layout settings. And for the score, I would like to use 11 by 17 paper. So down here in page setup, we have page size, and I will go ahead and come to 11 by 17, which is this tabloid. And also here we have space size that refers to the stave space, which is shown here. This is one of the things I love about Dorico. You get a visual reference. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come to size number 8 and hit apply. And let's see, our page is looking much better now. And we're pretty much full. Things will probably have to change based on spacing. But yeah, another thing I like doing is I like changing my font so everything matches. I can easily change the default in preferences and default text font family. However, that's not going to apply things to my current project. So what I need to do is I need to come up to library and font styles, and I'll go ahead and change it here. And from there, I'm also going to come into paragraph styles and change the fonts here. And there we are. I am now happy with all of my fonts. Another thing that I would like to do is I'd like to go ahead and set a time signature. So if I go ahead and do Shift M and do 4/4, just like that. I do like to have some bars to start out with, so I'm going to add in 24 additional bars. So we'll have 25 at the very end. One final thing to note is I'm not going to include a key signature because I've not started writing any music in here yet, and also I'm not sure that I want to include a key signature. I think some players just prefer accidentals, and it's a little bit of a modern standard. So now what I can do is I come up here to File, Save as Project Template. The category will be Orchestral, and for our name, we'll have 01 Large Orchestra Template. Save. And that is that. Well, there you have it. We just finished making a large orchestra template in Dorico 6. And it's unfortunate that it won't help me with my Chopin list, my Chopin list. But at least I can write music in a somewhat less stressed out fashion. But with all that being said, I have to go grocery shopping, so I hope you have a good rest of your day.